Hi everyone, I'm Sarah of Rich Textures Crochet and welcome. Today we are going to learn how to make the twine plant cozy, which is this little design that I have right here, which is currently housing my happy little spider plant. And this spider plant is currently potted in the 4-inch size. This pattern contains the instructions for 3 sizes of plant pots of your green standard plastic grower pots. It contains a pattern for size 4-inch, 6-inch, and an 8-inch plant pot. For this pattern, you are going to need about, for the 4-inch pot, about 40 yards of medium duty twine. Twine can be found at your local hardware store or farm supply store, and it comes in various weights, just like yarn does. For this project, I've selected a medium duty twine. It's not quite as rough as the heavy duty twine, so it's a little bit easier to work with. But it's not as thin as the light duty that you would find. Okay, so this is just a natural medium duty twine. And for the 4-inch pot, which we are going to make today in this tutorial, you will require about 40 yards of it. You will also need a 7mm crochet hook. You may also get away with an 8mm crochet hook. I would just try it and see. One note about the crochet hooks: when working with twine, I find a hard, solid plastic or metal hook, this is a plastic one, works best. A wooden hook kind of catches on the twine and it doesn't glide as easily through. Also, because the twine is tougher, you are going to want a strong crochet hook, one that is solid in material, which will minimize the possibility of it breaking. So you will also need a pair of scissors and a yarn needle for finishing off your work, and a copy of the written crochet pattern. The written crochet pattern can be found for free on my blog at richtexturescrochet.com, and while today we will only be working the pattern for the 4-inch pot, on my blog you will find the written instructions for the 6-inch and for the 8-inch green plastic grower pot. So now that we have all of our materials together, let's get started. Okay, so the pattern for the 4-inch pot, the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to start by making a magic ring. To make my magic ring, I'm simply going to fold my yarn or my twine over just like this. I have my non-working end and my working end over here, and I am going to simply twist my twine like that, and then I am going to simply make a loop with my twine. I'm just going to wrap it around a few times just like this. Nothing fancy, I'm just kind of wrapping it around. This is my short end here, this is my working end up here. I have 2 strands of twine wrapped around in my ring. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my crochet hook, I'm going to insert it through the ring, reach through, I'm going to grab a hold of my twine and pull up a loop. And then to get it started, I'm simply going to chain 1. And that is how I make my magic ring. Now I am going to, after I've chained 1, for round 1, I'm going to work 8 single crochets stitches into the center of this ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, as you can see, as I am working with my twine, I'm not worrying about keeping my stitches very tight. They're very loose. Twine, because it is so thick, I find kind of has its tension, a tension all on its own, and it's going to do what it wants to do no matter what you try to make it do. So it just is what it is. Then once you finish your 8 single crochet stitches, just pull. I should have showed you that slower. Just pull that non-working end, pull it tight, and you will see that ring get smaller and smaller, and you want to pull it as tight as you possibly can so that there's no space there in the middle of your stitches, in the middle of your ring. Then you are going to join in the first single crochet, and the first one is kind of always tricky because it's a little bit tighter. So just insert your hook and you're going to join with a slip stitch in that first stitch. Okay. For round 2, you are going to work chain 1 and then work 2 single crochet stitches into each stitch. So I'm going to start in my joining stitch, and I'm going to kind of force my hook through, and I'm going to work 2 single crochet stitches in each one. 1 and 2. 3, 4. You will have a total of 16 stitches at the end of this round. You can see that when you're working with the twine can be kind of dirty. You can see the dust here, so make sure that you're working on a surface that you can easily clean up afterward. The other thing that you'll find with twine is that its weight is not always consistent. They'll see it's quite thin in some places, quite thick in other places. I just roll with it and let it create character in my project. Okay, so once you've worked 16 stitches, 2 single crochet stitches in each of the first 8, then you're going to once again join with a slip stitch in that first stitch. And that is the end of round 2. For round 3, you're going to chain 1, and you're going to single crochet in the next stitch and 2 single crochets in the next. So I'm going to start by making my first single crochet in that joining stitch. So 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And then I'm going to repeat that. So 1 single crochet in the next stitch and 2 in the one following that in the next. One and then 2. At the end of this round, you will have 24 single crochet stitches. So repeat that 1-2 pattern all the way around. The twine, you can see it is a little bit harder. Sometimes it doesn't want to cooperate as a yarn would. If you find that it's really hard, just try and keep them a little bit looser, your stitches a little bit looser. I maybe should have kept mine a little bit looser. One, and then 2 single crochet in my last stitch. And once you come around to the beginning, you're going to once again join with a slip stitch in that first stitch. The twine you can kind of pull it into the shape that you want because it is stiff. There we go. So that is the end of round 3. For round 4, you are going to be working in the back loop only. So you're going to start by chaining 1, and then to work in the back loop, when you look at the top of your stitch, you see this V stitch, or this V here up at the top. To work in the back loop only, well, first, normally you would work under both of those loops. When you did your stitch, you would work just like that. To work in the back loop only, you're going to work under only one of those horizontal bars. So you're going to work in the back bar right here. So if I put my hook back in my slip stitch, I'm going to single crochet in each stitch around, working in the back loop only. So I've chained 1. This is my first stitch right here. I'm going to insert my hook under the back loop, so that back horizontal bar of my stitch only. I'm going to draw up a loop and then complete my stitch. So you will, on the front of your work, you will still have this other horizontal bar. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Insert my hook under the back loop, the back horizontal bar of that top of the stitch that I would normally work in. So there's 2. You're going to do that all the way around, and so you will have, again, a total of 24 stitches, all worked in the back loop. And you can see I have this horizontal bar running all the way around. My last stitch. The last stitch you're going to join once again in your first stitch under both loops, join with a slip stitch. There you go. Now your plant pot is going to want to curl forward like mine is right here. As I work and as I go forward, I want that right side to be facing out, so I'm going to keep turning my plant pot and kind of pushing the right side outward, just like that. Okay, so for now, for the next 9 rounds, rounds 5 to 13, I am simply going to be chaining 1 and working one single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So at the end of the round, I have 24 stitches in each round, and I'm going to do that for a total of 9 rounds. Chain 1, single crochet in each stitch around, and then you are going to join to the first with a slip stitch. So I am just working a single crochet in each stitch around. Again, I'm keeping my tension fairly loose, letting the twine fall where it will, and trying to keep that tension even. And at the end of each round, I'm going to join with a slip stitch under the first stitch, chain 1, and then start again. One single crochet stitch in each around, and I'm working under both loops. The back loop only was just for that one round 4. So now working under both loops. One more in that last stitch, and then join with a slip stitch in the first single crochet. And you can see it's probably turning inward again. Once you get a little bit further, just turn it so that your work is right side out. And you will want to continue to work with it right side out. So that was round 6. I'm going to continue until round 13, so 7 more rounds, and then I'll meet you back here and we will finish off together. Okay, so I'm now just finishing off round 13 of my 4-inch plant pot. My final single crochet. Then you're going to join with a slip stitch in that first stitch, and then you are going to simply fasten off, just like this. Then you will take your yarn needle and you will thread it through, and you will finish your work just as you would any other project. Kind of tuck your tail in under a few stitches, just like that, and then you will fasten off. I've already tucked in the end of my magic circle, but you will have to do that as well at this point. So there you have it. I will pull it back again for you to see. You will have a 4-inch plant pot cozy for your happy little plants. and they make a great addition either to your home or outside. The nice thing about twine is that it's fairly weather resistant. It is a natural product, so it will degrade over time, but it's great for kind of getting dirty, getting wet, and it's pretty robust, so you're not going to hurt it. They're great for indoors, in your home, in your office, or in your outdoor living space. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to make the twine plant pot cozy by myself, Sarah of Rich Textures Crochet. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I like to bring you crochet videos and tutorials weekly, so there's lots happening there on that channel. Also check me out on Facebook. You can search me at Rich Textures Crochet. I will have all of the links for my social media there for you in the notes to this video. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy crocheting. Bye.